Alright, now that we have everything ready, I have hashcat already extracted in here. I have my handshake and my word list. So I'm ready to use hashcat to crack the password. So first of all, we have to open the command prompt. So I'm going to go to the start menu. I'm going to type cmd to access my command prompt. Now I'm going to navigate to the location where I extracted hashcat. So it was in C. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do cd / to go all the way back to the root of the C directory. Then I'm going to do dir to list all available directories. This is the equivalent to ls in Linux. And as you can see now, I have a directory called hashcat. So I want to navigate into that. And to do that, we're going to do cd hashcat, and I'm going to press tab to autocomplete. And then I'm going to do dir again to list all the files in this current directory. And as you can see, I have hashcat binaries in here. I have a 32-bit and a 64-bit binary. So you need to run the one that's compatible with your processor. And you can see I also have my handshake that I copied earlier. And I have my word list right there. Now to run hashcat, we're going to do hashcat 64.exe, and I'm going to do --help to see all the options and arguments that I can use with the tool. And as you can see, we get a big list that show us all the options and how to exactly use the tool. So at the top here, you can see the usage of the tool. So this is the default syntax that you should use the tool with. And this is exactly the same whether you use the tool from Linux or from Windows. So I'm showing you how to use it from Windows, but if you manage to install your graphics card drivers on your Linux, then you can use it the same way that I'm showing you here. So basically you need to give the tool name at the start, which is hashcat. Then we're going to set the options, and you can see we have a big list of options here at the bottom. Then you're going to give the file that contains the data that you want to crack. And in our case, it's the hccapx file, followed by the dictionary to run the attack. And in our case, it's going to be called rawq. So I'm going to type in hashcat. Now, because I'm on Windows, I'm going to have to type hashcat64.exe. But if you're on Linux, you're just going to do hashcat. Then we're going to have to set the options. And as you can see, we have a huge list of options that we can set. For each option, we can see the option name. We can see the type. So this is the value that this option can take. It can be a number, it could be a file, it could be a character. We can see the description. So this tells us what we can set with this option. And then we have an example at the end showing us an example of setting this option to a certain value. Now the first option or argument that I want to use is the -I. And in the description, you can see that this argument will show us information about the devices in this computer that can be used for cracking. So if we just do -I, you can see that we have two devices that we can use for cracking. We have my device number 1, which is the GPU, and it has an ID of 1, and you can see all the information about this device in here, including its memory. Then we can see we have another device, and that is a CPU, it's not a GPU. And again, you can see all the information related to this device. Now the next option that I want to use is the -M. Now this specifies the hash type, so the type of hash that you want to crack. Now the hash type is a number, so we have to give a number that corresponds to the hash that we want to crack. And if we scroll down, you'll see that we have a table called hash modes, and it contains all the hashes that we can crack and their corresponding number. So my target is a WPA hash or WPA2, and you can see that the number corresponding to this is 2500. So to set this option, we're going to do -M, and we're gonna put 2500 to tell Hashcat that I want to crack a WPA or WPA2 hash. Now the next option that I want to set is the -D to tell Hashcat which device I want to use for cracking. So when we did -I, we seen we had two devices. We had number 1, which was my GPU, and we had number 2, which was my CPU. So I want to use the GPU for cracking, and therefore I'm going to do -D1. Now let's go up and have another look on the usage of the tool to make sure that we're using it properly. So we've already set Hashcat, we've already set the options, and the next thing that we need to do is to give the capx file followed by the word list file. So we've already converted our handshake to the hccapx extension, and we placed it with the word list both in the same directory as Hashcat, so that's our current working directory. As you can see here, I have my word list and I have my hccap file right here. So my handshake is called handshake.hccapx and my word list is called rawq.txt. So now our command is done, and let me go over it just one more time so that it's clear to you. First of all, we put the tool name, which is Hashcat, and we put 64 because I have a 64-bit processor. So we're doing hashcat64.exe. We're doing -m to specify the hash type, and I'm putting 2500 because we went on the hash modes table and we seen that 2500 is the number for WPA and WPA2 hashes. Then I did -D and I put number 1 to tell Hashcat that I want to use device number 1 for cracking. That's my GPU, and I was able to see all my devices by doing Hashcat-I. So we did that at the start and we seen the list, and then we seen that device number 1 corresponds to my GPU. Then according to the usage of the tool, we seen that we have to specify the handshake file after that, and I've already converted my handshake file to a hccapx extension, and it's already in the same working directory. That's why I don't need to give a full path, and it's called handshake.hccapx. And finally, we have to give the word list, and again the word list in the same working directory, so I don't have to give a full path, and we just had to say rawq.txt, which is the name of my word list. Now I'm gonna hit enter, and Hashcat is gonna start the cracking process using my GPU instead of the CPU. Now as you can see, we can actually pause and resume using the P and R if we want, and this way we'll be able to save our progress so that we can stop and come back to the cracking whenever we want.